All right, thank you. We're back, and we've got Troya into the conversation now. Thank you for joining us. You just said off mic that we're trying to get all emotional. Tell me what you're feeling right now after watching your Genius Lyric inspired video.
I'm proud of myself for one, but it made me really emotional just seeing Tyreek up there hearing the story again. I think I stopped really thinking about it after the video. I was like, I want to just, show my respect to him. But just to see it again has got me feeling those feelings again that I felt when I first found out about it.
Yeah, so you're from Eastern North Carolina, Wilson. I'm from Eastern North Carolina, Goldsboro. So Goldsboro in the house, anybody watching,
Okay.
stand up. A lot of people say country, not a lot to do, things like that. What kind of music did you listen to growing up in Wilson, and kind of what was the environment like?
What type of music I listened to? My stepdad got me on Jay-Z early. Jay-Z, Rough Riders, Eve, stuff like that. That was his style of music, so I kind of adapted to that. And then I got into my R&B bag. I started loving R&B. But as far as what was it like in Wilson, you really just described it. Country, small. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody's in everybody's business. We all family at the end of the day. But I was fortunate enough. My mom put me in sports and stuff like that. My parents put me in sports, so I was able to travel. And I know a lot of people in Wilson didn't get to see as many places as I've seen. So my experience was probably different than a lot of people in Wilson. But
Speaking about the cousins and everything, your little cousins and family and everybody being together, you say that first verse is directed to them, and this is what you say in that verse. Boy, you got to stand up, ain't enough to stand out. God gonna take you through some things just to bring that man out. In talking to them, what are the quote some things unquote that you are referring to and want to help them be able to work through?
The some things for me is just life. Whatever the universe has for you. You can do the right things and bad things still can happen to you. So it's just more I'm telling them, what wasn't told to me, that I could manifest and be anything that I want to be. So that's like the one thing I drill in their head. When y'all go to sleep at night, lay in bed and think about what you want to be. Act like you're there, So that's the main thing I'm telling them. But also, just to do right, to limit just to limit their interactions with the police. Sometimes you can't avoid it, but most times you can. So, just trying to tell them that, just do whatever they think is right.
A lot of those positive affirmations, Jay Gunn was talking about the same thing. And in the video, we see that there's two people, one seemingly doing the right thing and one seemingly on a different path. And then we see, the fate of the one that was trying to do the right thing. That's an interesting thing for us to walk through as Black people. Talk about Wilson specifically and being Black in Wilson County, 80,000 people roughly, the town, the city, like 50,000. Talk about being Black in that area specifically.
Well, it's normal. It's a lot of Black people in Wilson, my experience anyway, what I was able to see. It's just not a lot like of businesses per se, that's everywhere. You go to the hair store, 90% of the people who buy stuff out of the hair store are Black people, but I haven't seen a Black person own it, even down to the stores. We don't own anything in Wilson. So it's like we only consumers. So I'll say that's one thing that I noticed being Black in Wilson, but my experience is just kind of like everybody else's was. We just do what we were told, do what we know, go to school, get good grades, hopefully get a job, live right, go to heaven or hell. That's kind of what I was taught. So I would just say, yeah, we're just consumers. I would say that's one thing that I picked up.
Preaching on a Sunday, we're going to heaven or hell, live right. So you dropped a teaser, a new track on your Instagram account last week, and it's very thought-provoking to me. And here's one of the lines. We went to your schools, we played by your rules, you covered the truth, got us confused. That's why we act like we don't know what to do. We know historically Black schools have been underfunded, right?
Right.
historically black colleges and stuff, but also historically we know black education has been underfunded. So talk to me about what you're speaking about in that particular line, and then tell us about this track and this video, this project that's going to get released.
So I think it's important for me to finish that line. We went to your schools, we studied sorry, you say the line again.
We went to your schools, we played by your rules,
Okay.
you covered the truth, got us confused. That's why we
act like we don't know what to do, don't know what we did. That's the main thing. We don't know what we did. Like Jay Gunn said, I was watching it, he kind of took it out of my mouth. You know, when I first went to school, I found out that I was a slave. So automatically as a black woman or a black girl, black boy in school, you don't even know you were enslaved. You just heard you was a slave. So I'm thinking, we woke up one day and we woke up, we were born, we were slaves. Not even knowing the history. So I think it's more of the curriculum more than being underfunded sometimes. This is what they're teaching us. You know, even with church, the Bible says, you know, it kind of alludes that God is black, but the picture that you see on the church wall is going to be a white man. So it's kind of like misleading. If you don't read it and you see that, the first thing you see is a white man who you think is superior. He's God. So now a black boy see a white man, you already looking like, oh, that's God per se, you know? So I feel like it's more of what they're teaching us than really being underfunded. You know, we really didn't learn anything. I just learned the power of manifesting. I'm 20 plus, that's all I say. And I've just learned that. You know, that's why I beat it in my cousin's head, because that's so powerful. That's half the battle, if you knew that. So I just think it's more of the curriculum than being underfunded, more than anything. But I did, like I said in the video, I spent some time in Baltimore, and it blew my mind that it was in the summertime, these kids will get out of school at 10 o'clock every day because they don't have air conditioning. Every day at 10 o'clock, these kids are getting out of school because they don't have air. It's too hot in there. You cannot learn anything in 2 hours. It blew my mind. No, nothing to fix it. They're not going to fix it. It's literally, that's what happens in the summer. So it's just a lot. You don't even know where to start, where to begin, how to fix it.
Yeah, there's a great book that I encourage everybody to go get. It's called The Education of Blacks in the South by James D. Anderson, and it kind of breaks down public education, and it gets into Rosenwald buildings, the Rosenwald Fund, and all of that to talk some about what you were saying is the curriculum and who is teaching us,
right?
Who is teaching us what. And if you go back and you think about the civil rights era of the 20th century, so the 1960s, all those black people were educated by black people. So clearly black people know how to educate themselves, right? But that's a whole nother conversation we can get into. I want to talk a little bit more about Tyreek Hudson.
Can I pause? Because I didn't get to tell you about the movie. I want to make sure.
Get that in.
The movie is Freedom of N.C., shot and directed by James Jones. He just reached out to me to do it. The song is going to be called Ready to Run, featuring myself and Kia Smith. So I think it's projected to come out Juneteenth, 2021.
Well, talk about where you filmed that at, because you're in a cotton field, and a lot of things ran through my mind. So tell us a little bit about where that was filmed at.
The historic Hope Plantation in Windsor Mill, North Carolina. Crazy experience just to be there and see a cotton field and to feel cotton and be asked to pick cotton. And then what was even more crazy experience was they had to teach us how to pick cotton. And they had a white man come teach us how to pick cotton. So I was sitting back, my partner she was like, your lip was poked out the whole time. Because it's like, you teaching me how to pick cotton. But it was a great experience just to be there, and I just felt like, you know, the energy of my ancestors was out there or something. It was just good to see it and feel it.
Yo, I want to pause for 1 second though. A white man teaching black people how to pick cotton in 2020. That's very fascinating. Shout out to Black Cotton though, Julius Tillery. Check him out. You know, several generations of black cotton farmers. So when we talk about, we get to Tyreek Hudson, you referenced him. 22-year-old software engineer, went to A&T, graduated early because he's so bright and intelligent. And then this tragic event happens, and you break it down in the Genius video, so we won't go back over that. But what was happening in Wilson in the time? What were people feeling like? What were they going through?
What's crazy is that I was actually in Baltimore at the time. So I know it was kind of like a shock. And it's more like their family and stuff, it hits home. And Tyreek was more, he wasn't, I don't know if he was like known by everybody, but you know, your family feel it first. So I don't really know the energy of how Wilson was. It was more sad or shocking. Because I was looking at it from social media, but it hit me a little different because I was literally right there, you know, walk those same streets. I know how scared he could have been because I was scared being there. You know, just to walk down the street is so different from being from Wilson to going to Baltimore, a real city, you know, or seeing how drugs and poverty has kind of taken over some areas there compared to what we see. We think we see stuff. You got to get outside of Wilson and see it's real in certain places. So I don't really know the temperature of how North Carolina was at the time or how Wilson was. I just know it's kind of like shocking for everybody. But for me, it just felt like it could have been me, you know? I'm right there. We both from Wilson, both around the same age. So it was just I just try to reach out to his mom, you know, and just pay my respects that way and show her some love, but.
Yeah, I appreciate in the song your tone and kind of your tenor and how you're I think Kaisha said it. It's like kind of like a love letter to your nephews, and I felt like to just black boys, black people in general. Talk about, if you will, the right path, right? And how would you describe what the right path is, which is a 20-hour question, and we don't have 20 hours, obviously, but give us sort of the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about that.
My perspective has changed a lot over probably the past 6 months on what's right, what's wrong. Just doing what you feel in your heart is right. Letting, you know, it's like a good person here and a bad person here sometimes. So it's really like just follow your heart. If you know when your heart was right or wrong, it's already in you. You know what feels right, what doesn't feel right. So that's what I try to preach to them. These kids, they know they're not little kids. These kids think like us. They're adults in their mind. So you don't even really have to sugarcoat anything for them. So it's not that I have to tell them what's right and wrong. They already know. It's just really just staying on them, letting them know, hey, I'm watching you. I care. I'm here. If you need to talk or anything like that. But I can't really tell them right or wrong. I don't do everything right, and they around me, they see me, but it's like I'm just telling them how to be better, you know, how to live longer, live your whole life. I don't want to go to your funeral. I don't. So that's kind of like my thing. I just keep it real with them. They seen it. They on social media. They see it before. They seen stuff. Like social media is so like insensitive too. So they know everything. I don't even have to tell them. I just have to let them know that I'm here. They know right from wrong.
As we wrap up in the video, you talk about being civically active, because you say it's more than just police brutality, right? And you call yourself out too, saying even me, I gotta be better about being civically active. So if you think about the last couple of election cycles, and I mean every 2 years, so let's say 16, 18, and now 20, what would you say to folks who still don't believe that the ballot box is something that is vital to our society, black people being alive and being able to thrive in this society?
That's a rough question, because like I said, my views have changed a lot in the past couple months. So what I would say is on a local level, I think it's really important to, you know, to kind of have a say-so on what's going on in your community. I think it's important for everyone to just do your research on these systems that the United States has and these different, you know, people who's running the office. Because everybody has an agenda at the end of the day. So it's just really just educating yourself on these systems and how they operate and seeing how you can fit in and play a part.
Yeah, for anybody who wants to have that point underscored, just go look at election results in the state of North Carolina, look at the General Assembly, and it'll give you kind of a picture of sort of where things stand. Troya, thank you for joining us on Mic Check, being vulnerable and sharing your story. You can follow Troya on Instagram at Troya.NC. We made a joke about that earlier, at Troya.NC on Instagram.